Hey everybody, welcome to episode 280 of Magic the Amateuring.
That's right, you're listening to a podcast for people who play the game of Magic, whether you are new to the game, returning to the game, just enjoying the game, you know, in your spare time, like you do.
I enjoy the game in my not spare time.
True. There's a lot of times when I'm enjoying the game in what I should call spoken for time.
I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
I'm another one of your hosts, Megan.
And we are in two separate locations this week.
Yes, it's sad.
I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota, home of the giant fruit.
I'm
on a spoon.
Oh. Is a cherry a fruit?
Yes. What do you think it is, a vegetable?
What? Are berries fruits?
Yes.
Are they though?
What is it, a legume? Is it like a potato?
Look, I'm just going to say I started typing in "are berries" into Google, and the first thing that came up was fruit. Like it autofilled fruit.
Are berries fruit?
Yeah.
And what does Google say?
While we've tended to define berries as any small edible fruit, the official definition of a berry is, quote unquote, a fleshy fruit produced from a single ovary.
Ew!
By this definition, oranges, kumquats, blueberries, and even tomatoes can be considered part of the berry family.
Wow, it also defines me, because I'm definitely a fleshy fruit produced from a single ovary.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
You learned a lot about me and my mom in that sentence right there. On today's episode, not only will we find out facts about fruits and vegetables, but we're going to talk about the Pro Tour. That's why we're in separate locations. Megan's still in Richmond, Virginia, where we just had the PT.
That's right. I'm getting ready to hop on a plane to Rhode Island.
Wow. And you're doing some improv in Rhode Island, right?
I am. It's going to be
That'll
sick.
be fun. So if you're in Rhode Island, what's the festival?
It's called the Ocean State Improv Festival, and it is in Wakefield, Rhode Island, which is about as far south in Rhode Island as you can go.
Cool. So check it out if you're in RI, our lovely smallest state. But yeah,
Wait,
Pro Tour was super exciting.
Is Rhode Island the smallest state?
Go on, type it in, and it says Rhode Island is actually a fleshy state that was produced from a single flag. I don't know.
That would be a really weird definition.
It would. It truly
really
would. But before we get into all of our stuff about the exciting Pro Tour, because it actually really was, especially the final moments of it.
Yeah.
We have some people to thank. First of all, thank you to everybody on Patreon who donates to the show and who I like to call the members of the show. All you have to do is go to patreon.com/MTAcast and you can become a member of the show for as little as $1.25 an episode, which I personally think is a bargain.
That's right.
You know, if you ever get anything from the show, if it brings some joy or happiness or learning to your life, consider throwing $1.25 our way. You get access to our super sweet Discord chat with a lot of cool cats in there. And we're going to have some new Patreon stuff happening pretty soon. So get in there and get on the train. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, lots of good photos of cats on that Patreon Discord.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have a Discord member who did a cool Slimefoot animation show. So shout out to them because that thing was awesome and it made the front page of Reddit too. So nice. Our fans are really cool. No big deal.
They really are. They're pretty great.
Big thanks to Card Kingdom too.
Yes. cardkingdom.com/MTAcast, the place to go if you're looking to pick up boosters or singles or, you know, all of the Magic things. Dice, accessories, deck boxes, binders, playmats, the whole works.
And we are going to send them some more stickers. Somebody told me that they're out. So we'll send them some more so you can ask for an MTA sticker to include in your order.
And it's a brand new MTA sticker.
It's a new sticker with a secret on it.
That's right. It literally
It does. It has one.
It literally has a secret on it.
And you'll find it out if you ask for a sticker in your order.
Yep.
If they have them by the time you order. cardkingdom.com/MTAcast. It's time for the top 5 things you need to know in your magical life this week.
One thing.
One thing?
The number one thing is probably to almost no one's surprise, the Pro Tour happened this past weekend.
Yay! We had the Pro Tour in humid Richmond, Virginia.
Oh my goodness, it was humid. It was, I made the mistake of walking to the venue on Friday. I walked there every day because I really like being outdoors. But so I walked there on Friday, and by the time I got there, I was just like coated with a layer of sweat.
That's what happened. If you stepped outside for like 5 minutes, all of a sudden you were like a popsicle that had been sitting out in the sun for a minute.
Just like a thin coating.
Yeah, a thin coating of
but
grease.
everywhere.
Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah.
Lovely in some ways, but also humid. Some good restaurants.
Also, yeah.
But anyway,
oh, yeah.
That's all ancillary to the fact that somebody won the tournament.
Yes, they did.
Wyatt Darby was the champion, playing mono red aggro. Yeah,
that's right.
Just all
his
mountains.
Second Pro Tour.
Congratulations to Wyatt. He was a cool cucumber too.
He really was. Every time he was there, he just he had like a face that said no emotions.
Right? He just seemed so calm in the feature match area. I just couldn't believe it. Playing against, like, he had to take down a few big names to get in there too, like Owen Turtenwald and a whole bunch of other good players on his way to the crown. But yes, seems like a nice guy. Wyatt Darby, congratulations.
I think he beat other pro Thomas Hendricks.
Yes.
In the top 8 as well.
He did, and he made the right metagame call too, which we'll dive into a little deeper in the show, but really smart move on his behalf there with the deck that he brought.
Pretty sweet.
Thing number 2, and don't say you're surprised by this because we called this card out on the show like
that's right.
Last week, the week before, I don't even know.
A while ago.
I called it out the first moment I saw it spoiled. Chainwhirler, what is this card?
People are, justifiably on the warpath.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
With Goblin Chainwhirler, everyone's just like, this card is the worst.
We guessed how many copies were going to be in the top 8, and we were wrong
my goodness.
by quite a lot.
We were below, and we made a high guess.
We did. We guessed a lot. What did we guess?
Yeah.
Like, was it 14? Did I say?
I want to say it was 14.
And it was not 14.
No, it was way more.
Chainwhirler was all over the feature match area this past weekend, whirling its chains, killing little creatures, generally being a jerk. So now
going together with Soulscar Mage.
Oh, that was sick.
That's a nasty combo.
Distributing those -1/-1 counters, I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was cool, actually.
It's just like, oh, you're playing a deck where this doesn't kill everything, but guess what? It's still going to shrink your entire team.
Lame. And so people are like, oh, this might be something that Wizards are going to consider banning coming up now. Like, is this worse than Rampaging Ferocidon, which did get the ban?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Who
we'll
knows?
Find out. We'll find out.
I mean, I sure think so.
I sure think so, too, if I'm being honest.
Think it's the worst.
I'm not a fan, as you may know. Thing number 3.
If someone is listening to this podcast and somehow still thinks that you and I are fans of Goblin Chainwhirler, they're actually listening to a different podcast and only somehow believe that they were listening to this one.
That's accurate. Thing number 3. The Standard Super League is headed your way, and guess what? We're playing in it. We're the Slippery Moguls.
I am 100% going to bring an Aetherflux Reservoir deck.
Oh, that deck is sweet.
It's gonna happen. I'm gonna make it happen. We are playing against the Play Design team.
Uh-oh.
Champions of the Team Modern Super League.
I'm scared.
Yeah, as am I. I mean, look at the name. Look at the names.
Chainwhirler or no Chainwhirler, we're gonna play fun decks.
That's right.
Thing number 4, Battle Bond pre-release with Loading Ready Run coming up this weekend.
That's right. It's going to be awesome. It's one of our most favorite things to watch. I was like, what's the phrasing that I'm looking for?
I think it's most favoritist.
Most favoritist thing to watch. We've got Jules Robbins from WotC R&D, Rhino, aka Young Mage, who's a Magic YouTuber, and Dana Fisher.
That'll be so fun. Dana Fisher, she's 7 years old and really cool, plays elves all the time, and Magic is trying to be the youngest person to ever make day 2 of a Grand Prix.
That's right.
And with, we saw a video about her at the Pro Tour this weekend. It'll be on YouTube. It was so cute, everybody. You should go watch it.
It was super cute.
I got very teary watching it because it just made me so happy to see like her, and she's so positive and like, oh, I love playing Magic and playing these cards and stuff, and I'm like, this is the future. So yeah, it's excellent. And the pre-release sure to be excellent as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It is always a real good time. And then 5 of those usual nerds from Loading Ready Run.
Loading Ready Run. Just your usual nerds.
Just a bunch of usual nerds.
Thing number 5 is if you're working hard to qualify for the Pro Tour, which I know a lot of people are, RPTQ is coming up for specifically qualifying for that Pro Tour coming up. And guess where it's going to be?
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis, our home. I'm so stoked.
That's right. This is a Pro Tour 25th anniversary, and it's the Team Pro Tour where it's a standard player, a modern player, and a legacy player. Ooh, spooky.
And it's kind of fun, too, because at this last Pro Tour for Dominaria, they had the top 16 teams have qualified all of their members for Pro Tour 25th anniversary, regardless of if they were qualified or not previously. And
pretty great.
They're going to choose their teams for that Pro Tour, and they're going to have to take their 6 members of their teams and split it down the middle, 3 on one team, 3 on the other team. So it's team against team, potentially, which could be very, very much drama. And then the other people who have...
Very much drama.
Much drama, much wow. Doge will watch. They're going to have to pick their teammates from people who qualified the same way that they qualified. So we're going to see some... I'm going to put it this way. We're going to see some interesting mixes of teams, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's going to be super cool. I'm just so excited for this Pro Tour.
Me too.
I think it's just going to be really sweet. It's going to be so unique. It's going to be... Yeah, it's just going to be great. It's going to be great.
And it's here in Minneapolis, and there's a Grand Prix the weekend before. So if you're not like, oh, I'm not trying to qualify for the PT or anything like that, if you're in the area, come on down to the Grand Prix. It's going to be sick.
Yeah.
So the Pro Tour is the first weekend of August, so the GP would be the last weekend of July if you want to plan.
Yeah. Get your planning in now, buddies.
And pack your snow boots.
Oh, man. Do you know what I realized this weekend?
No, don't say it.
What?
That winter is going to be here in like 2 months.
What?
Oh.
No.
Oh, okay.
August isn't winter.
Thank God.
September is.
Oh, that's fine then.
I was thinking to myself the other day, I was like, what am I going to do if it snows in October? And I was like, I don't know. I might just disappear. I might just walk out into the plains of Minnesota and never
Meghan.
return.
There
exactly.
She goes.
Be like, where did she walk off to? Nobody knows.
It's so funny. Magic Amateuring has relocated to Hawaii for September through March.
Oh, that's my dream.
Perfection. What were you going to say?
I don't remember. What were
Par for the
Don't
course
say.
here.
Oh, what I noticed. I was like, I say buddy like every other word.
I feel like that's the first time you've said it on the show today.
I think so. I think I say it less like on the show, but when I'm talking to people, especially like if I'm talking with my friends, it's just like constant. It's constant.
Do you remember that commercial for the giant doll, My Buddy and Me, back in the late 80s, early 90s? My buddy. And it was just a giant doll that was the same size as you if you were a child. That's so scary now that I think about it.
That is. Weird. Like,
just Google it. It's going to be weird looking.
Okay. I'm gonna.
My buddy.
And
giant doll.
And that's all the news.
Hey everybody, we want to say thank you to Ultra Pro, one of our sponsors. ultrapro.com or cardkingdom.com/MTAcast is the place to go to get your Ultra Pro gear on.
That is right. They have just like amazing art on their playmats and on their sleeves. They have sleeves that shuffle amazing. It's just all upside.
I've got this beautiful Ultra Pro deck box that I'm holding right here in my hand. You can open it. On the bottom is a little spot for your dice. It's really, really cool. You can get them like this. This is a hard case one. It's currently what I actually house my boggles in, so you know it's good. That is a foil boggle deck, everybody. I'm not messing around when it comes to the Boggly Boys. Or you can get this version, which is more of a leatherette kind of version here, and the dice you can see go right on in the top in the room for 75 cards. It's really cool. They've got a ton of great gear. ultrapro.com or cardkingdom.com/MTAcast. And big
Do you know what?
to them
This
for being
weekend,
our sponsor.
Someone was like, you all keep talking about gravity dice and I don't know what that means. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry for you.
Oh my gosh, gravity dice are so cool.
They're amazing.
Go check them out on the website. They're really awesome. Hey everybody, it's time for a Pro Tour wrap, and first we're going to kick things off with draft. 6 rounds of draft at Pro Tour Dominaria, and we saw some pretty sweet stuff, Megan.
Yeah, we sure did. What are some of the favorite things that you saw?
Well, I have 2 top favorites. Number 1, of course, is obviously the 5-color masterpiece / trainwreck disaster we saw from Sam Black.
Do you know what? I think he and everyone else expected that deck to 3-0.
I mean, yeah, it was very close. It nearly did.
It was a masterpiece.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
If you didn't catch it, go back and watch.
I think that often you look at a 5-color deck and you say, this was a train wreck. Or like, this is a train wreck that turned into a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many legends in that deck. It looks like, is there enough planning in this that it goes from, like, you have to strike train wreck from the words that we use to describe it? Because, is...
Sure,
is the Statue of David a train wreck, or is it just a masterpiece?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, we really can't call it a train wreck because Sam obviously knew what he was doing very early on in the draft. He had been picking legends. I think it was his first pick. If not, it was his second pick, third pick, and he kept going on and on. So he wasn't doing this willy-nilly. Oh, he knew. This
deck was always in the cards, and he just
picked,
found it in there.
Right. Yes, it was always there.
What's the quote exactly that I'm looking for?
I don't know.
The quote where something. I don't know. Hold on.
I'm going to describe it for people if you didn't get a chance to see this deck. So obviously it's 5 colors. It played 3 copies of Navigator's Compass, was a card that, of course, we couldn't stop talking about all weekend because there's such a controversy on if you should ever play it or not. Well, Sam Black did. He played 3 copies because he just needed the mana fixing because he was playing 5-color Legendary. And the coolest thing was he had almost mono legendary creatures in his deck. He was also playing the reanimation spell. Primeval's Glorious Rebirth that brings any number of legendary creatures back from your graveyard to the battlefield, which is unplayable, by the way, in any other deck other than this specific deck.
It really is.
It was great. He went 2-1 with it, and it was just a gosh darn work of art. It was the David quote of the Pro Tour.
Every block of stone has a statue inside it, and it is the task of the sculptor to discover it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that deck was always in those boosters of Magic cards, and it was his task to discover it.
That's so true. It's like, I often think that when I'm drafting, I'm like, oh man, is the perfect deck just somewhere in here, and I just didn't pick the right cards to find it? Yeah.
Interesting. I feel like these are some really weirdly philosophical questions about drafting.
So true. And the other crazy thing we saw was, I think, John Finkel's first draft deck was also absolutely outrageously good. Blue-red. He said he loved that color combination, thought it was way better than any other colors. I kind of sort of agree with him. I do think it's by far the strongest color pair. But that being said, the other ones are not as far behind as they have been in previous sets. And yeah, his deck was just super, super sweet, and it was cool to watch him play it too. Oh, we can't forget about the 2 Planeswalker deck that Andrea Mangucci drafted. Oh,
that was just absurd. I think Frank Karsten said it's something like a 0.04% chance.
Yeah, so he had Teferi and Karn, which, as the good old Dr. Frankie Numbers lets us know, is nearly impossible. And there are 4 Planeswalkers opened in that draft too.
Yeah. Do you know what?
like, it does make me want to like pause briefly, because I feel like no one that like listens to our podcast would ever be one of the people who is out there saying this.
Yeah.
But there were like people online who were just like, oh, if you don't think that like WotC isn't stacking these featured draft packs, then like you're absurd. Like a bunch of like, you know, like little conspiracy theorists who are out there being like, oh, these packs have got to be rigged. And it just makes me really upset. Yeah. Because I think all of the people, like, in case you know someone who says that, like, thinking of all of the people who, like, love Magic so much who would have to be, like, complicit in that sort of thing.
Like, it's just absurd.
No one would ever do it. Like, right? Like, you and I would be really mad if that was a thing that happened. And we would be people who would know about it. Like, Marshall would know about it, and he would be super mad.
Judges are the ones who do this, right? So
exactly. Yeah, judges are the ones who, like, stamp and register those boosters. And, like, judges are judges because, like, the rules of Magic are very important to them, and, like, upholding those rules and, like, having a lot of integrity to the game. So, like, if you are, you know, if you see someone saying that, just, like, let them know, like, hey, there are a lot of people who are really passionate about this game, and who are, like, you know, people who believe in Magic and believe in having great games of Magic, and like they would never be okay with that.
Absolutely not. And the integrity of the game is interesting enough. Like, you play this game, right? Because it's good, it's great, and it's diverse, and strange things happen in it. Exactly. It's never the same. Right? Yeah. That's why you play it. And that's exactly what it is. And that's exactly what we saw in this this feature match area draft. And by the way, lots of times the drafts aren't exciting. Yeah, remember last Pro Tour? None of those drafts were any good.
Oh my goodness. The times that we've seen, like someone, the featured drafter then like goes 0-3.
Right.
With their deck.
It's the same as Magic. There's just no accounting for the stuff that happens in it sometimes like that.
I don't know that he like 0-3, but Lucas Esper Bertu was the other featured drafter. And going back to what we were talking about before of like the philosophy of like, is there like a good deck in these cards, and like I just have to make the right picks to find it. We haven't ever talked about, we haven't talked much about, sometimes there are seats at a draft table that like just aren't, you're just not in a good seat.
Right.
Or like you're going to be in a seat that's like very difficult to draft, and sometimes you'll be in a seat that's like very easy to draft. Like you see really clear signs, and you open like some good rares, or you get past strong cards and good colors. And like I was the recorder for Lucas's draft, and it was just like he didn't make bad picks, but like he was in a what I would call like a really hard seat to draft.
Yes,
because they're just like. Again, like I said, it's not like he ever made like a bad pick. It was just like I was even looking over his shoulder at these packs, and I'm just like, this is just rough. Right?
That's so
like,
true. And you know, like draft is the most skill testing format a lot of professional players will say in Magic, but that does not cancel out, you know, the fact that sometimes pure old-fashioned luck is involved. Yeah. And hopefully the right things come to you at the right time in your seat.
Exactly. So I think, just while we're talking about, like the weird philosophical part of it, it's like, it was so strange to me because I like, you know, I've heard people talk about it before, but I had never been like watching a place where so clearly I was just like, oh, this is one of those seats that they're talking about. And I think the person to his left also, I took a look at his deck afterwards, and it was like, this guy obviously also had to make some really difficult picks.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So. And I think there's a general call out to, I'm just gonna give him a little mini rant here. I'm sure our listeners are great. They do not do this. You guys are the best. But I just had a real tough time with chat this weekend on Twitch on the Pro Tour. It's very negative across the whole weekend. And I know Twitch chat sometimes isn't the greatest place in the world, and I'm not expecting it to be the greatest place in the world, but I would really love to see more positivity in there. Like, it seemed like almost every other thing that was posted was negative about people playing, or the cards, or the decks, or the coverage, or I don't even know what, and just people using the word cringe over and over again, like, really got to me, you know, because I just feel like, why are we doing this? Why are we saying when you care about something, or something is personal to somebody, and they're, you know, making it known, that's something that we have to, like, take a crap all over, basically. Yeah. I know it's part of internet culture right now, but I would highly encourage everybody to really, you know, try and and
exercise that word from your vocabulary.
yes, just take it out. I don't want to see it anymore. It's just not good. It's just not good, and it's not bringing us to a spot that we want to be in Magic, right? This is not an environment that makes other people want to play the game, that makes people want to participate in chat, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, if you ever find yourself wanting to say that, just, like, don't.
Yeah. I think it's also, like, for me, it's always a really interesting word because I don't know. Wow, we're having weird conversations today.
Yeah.
But like when I see that word, it's hard for me because I don't know that I that often have an emotion that I would match to that. Right? Like when people are saying it all the time, I'm like, is this something that you really like, do you really feel this all the time? Or like, as often as you're saying it, because I can think of the things that I think make me cringe aren't when I see, it's all stuff that it's just like, oh, that's like a really difficult thing for another person to go to. It's like the stuff that makes me cringe is all just like, oh my God, you're like going through, like, this is a really painful experience for someone. And I mean, like, emotionally, right? It's like distressing or it's hard for them. And that's when it's like, it's more of like an empathetic, like, oh my God, that has to hurt so much for you that I don't, like, I feel really bad. I don't want to look at it.
Right. Like when somebody takes a dive off a skateboard and into a metal pole.
Exactly. And instead it's just like, so when people say that, I'm like, I just like legitimately don't understand what they're feeling then.
Yeah, I guess
because when I see people
word I would think it'd be is awkward, but
yeah,
even then I'm like, don't even pretend like your life isn't a series of 1,000 awkward moments a day. Don't even give me that, because you know what it is. It's called the human experience. Get over it. Exactly.
And I guess like and maybe that's also why, is because like I feel like in the last couple of years I've made like this really big effort to, I used to have like a really hard time with like being socially uncomfortable or like not knowing what to do with myself. And I just like, like I talked to some people about it and I read some stuff and I was just like, do you know what? Anytime that I feel awkward, I'm just going to choose to feel a different way instead. That's like kinder to the people around me. So if I'm talking to someone and I'm like, this is awkward, I don't know them, it's like, oh, instead I'm going to choose to be curious about them and I'll ask them a bunch of questions and it's like, oh, now we're having a nice conversation where I'm learning about you.
Right.
Or if it's like, oh, if this is like some like really bad theater that's like really awkward, it's like, no, instead I'm just going to find like who is someone that's doing really good, and so I'm like appreciating a performance, or like what is it that's like, I'll find something that it's just like, oh, this is like funny, or like this is like artistic, or there's something good in this.
Exactly. Let's, stop saying, oh, I'm just going to point my finger and laugh at you and say cringe like a second grader looking at somebody who like tripped and fell. And instead what I feel like we should be doing is saying is trying to feel more empathy in our daily lives.
Yeah, like make the connection with it instead.
Right, make a connection with it. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, because otherwise I feel like it feels like taking the easy option of just like distancing yourself and like being emotionally unavailable to something.
Oh, it's so easy. It's so easy to say that.
And it's like, oh, what if instead like you put in a little bit of like emotional work, and like the reward is this, that you're going to get a lot more out of experiences.
100%.
So. All
right, so get out of there. Get that word out of chat. I'm sick of it.
And that's the Pro Tour draft.
Hashtag end rant. I wanted to really quick talk about a couple of other cool decks that happened this weekend. Well, we did coverage draft. We saw a really sick mono red, basically kind of attack, burn, in quotation marks, spells deck that somebody on coverage was drafting, which was really, really, really sweet.
Oh yeah, Toby of Magic coverage.
Yeah, like a bunch of run-amucks, get to chroniclers, what is it? Get to journey mages, just all in. It was a work of art.
It really was. A version that he played against me was also a Valduck deck.
Oh yeah.
Where you just like turn 4, it was like making one because he had a short sword on it, and then like the next turn it was just like more and more and more. It was great.
And you drafted a sort of artifact, flyers, tempo, conjecture deck.
Ooh, yeah. No, Antiquities War.
I mean, Antiquities War deck.
That deck was great. I loved it. This was it ended up being almost mono blue. I kept in a copy of Wizard's Lightning because that card is obviously just like great. I'll post a photo of it actually, so that people can see it because I was really cool. Really proud of it. Plus, like my perfect opening hand. There was an opening hand that I had with this deck that was just like I was running Navigator's Compass. I'll say that up top, but it was like that Antiquities War, like Joyra's Familiar, like some other, or like a Voltaic Servant, and then like 3 lands. It was beautiful.
Yeah, and that Navigator's Compass was not doing its normal job in this deck.
No, it was attacking my opponents for 5.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
I drafted a legendary party, is what I'm going to call it, with a bunch of legendary sorceries. So I had tons of legendary creatures. It was Naya colors, I think. And I had Urza's Ruinous Blast. And what the heck else did I have? Jaya's Immolating Inferno. Oh, no, I don't think that was the one. I drafted that at some point this weekend, but that wasn't that deck.
You had a Traxos and a Shalai, I remember that.
Traxos and Shalai, that's right. I had Traxos, which I was basically untapping every turn almost the hard way by casting legendaries. It was really cool. What we're saying is draft is great. Like, get out there and do it. There's every deck in the world you could possibly want to draft, you can.
Yeah, it's legit.
And congratulations to Elias Watsfeld, by the way, who is our draft master.
That's right.
Our first 3 Pro Tours. He only ever had 3 losses, was it?
Oh my God.
It might even be less than that. I can't remember. It's something crazy.
That's absurd.
He's great.
That's an absurd record. That's legitimately incredible. Yeah, he was like by a wide margin. I remember going into the weekend. They're like, oh, if he like 3-0s his draft on day 1, like literally no one can catch him.
Yeah, he's got it.
So, pretty sweet.
All right, let's talk about standard at the Pro Tour. So the deck that took the whole thing down, Mono Red.
Yeah.
Mono Red.
Hoof.
Megan, would you have predicted this going into this PT?
No.
Me either.
I think like Black Red was definitely on everyone's radars. Obviously, like both the more aggressive builds and like the more mid-range builds, but Mono Red? Nah, man.
No, I was like expecting maybe Teferi to come out swinging and be like, oh, look, check it out. This Teferi deck with no win conditions made it in. And I was expecting every match of the top 8 to just be like a million years long because we were just waiting for Teferi to keep tucking himself back into the library until somebody got decked.
Yep. But no.
That wasn't even the case. The only deck with blue in the top 8 was an Esper control list, and it got out in the quarterfinals. Got the boot. Every other deck was red. Every single other deck.
Yeah. Very interestingly, also, Return of the Scarab God.
Yes. Welcome back, our little beetly boy.
Yeah, a friend that for a while people were just like, is this card just like not playable anymore?
I know, right? I hated it. I hated it with a fiery passion. Now I don't care. I'm like, I hate Chainwhirler. Come on back, Scarab God.
Right?
Pull out a chair. I have made some tea for you.
You, buddy, are the definition of the lesser of two evils.
Absolutely. Yeah, there is blue-black mid-range running around and control.
Yeah, which is, I thought was super interesting because, like I said, yeah, going into it, everyone was just like, is this even a thing?
And there's a lot of talk, too, about the distinction that Wizards had made between some of the more mid-range black-red decks and the aggressive black-red decks. And the actual line they drew in the sand was if your deck had a copy of Bomat Courier or not. Or 4 copies, I should say. Nobody's just going to put one in there. But that was the line they drew because they needed to like separate them somehow because they really aren't the same thing. If you're not playing Bomat Courier, you're not exactly.
Bomat Courier is just the best deck decision that I could possibly think of. Just one. You're just like, here it is.
Just
this
one
is
Bomat Courier.
One Bomat Courier.
That little robot mail bot. I love it so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so in case anybody was curious about what that deal was. That was why.
Yeah.
And it was especially important to make 2 with Chainwhirler running around, whirling its chain, because those decks sometimes included like Earthshake or Kenra or something, which, yeah, they're going to get hit by that.
Yeah, exactly. And they were talking about, like, if you're looking at someone like, who am I thinking of? Oh my goodness.
Santa Claus.
Yeah, it's always Santa Claus. Just
Dog
always
with a beard.
Always guess Santa Claus.
A grasshopper with a credit card debt problem.
So, what?
I don't know anymore. Who are you thinking of?
I was thinking of Kazuyuki Takamura.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because this is a red-black mid-range deck, right? And we're looking at people, we were talking about, like, hey, like, you know, he went so far as, like, he's got, like, Vraska's Contempt in his main deck.
Right.
He has Karn, which lots of, like, the red-black mid-range weren't playing. He's playing 3...
the only Karns in the top 8.
Yeah, exactly. He's playing, like, Chandra, Torch of Defiance in the main. So that was kind of, like, also another line if you're looking at it and you're like, how is this not the same deck? And it's like, well, he has a very different game plan, which is, like, he's got a lot of, like, 4-mana stuff that's going to, you know, in his hopes, overpowered those aggro decks.
Yeah. And that would have been a big game too if Kazuyuki had been able to make it to win the whole thing, because he would have been only the 9th person ever to win 2 individual Pro Tours, by the way.
Really?
Yes, in all of history.
There's only been 2?
9, so he would have been number 9. I mean,
to win 2, but like...
Yeah, to win 2.
There's only 9 people who have won 2 Pro Tours. He
would have been 9, so 8 people have won 2.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. That really is.
To repeat. But Owen Turtenwald made it into the top 8. This was his 5th Pro Tour top 8, which is insane. Marcio Carvalho, this was his 4th Pro Tour top 8. And when you start getting numbers like that, it's just like, it's so impressive.
It really is. It's, yeah.
But we talked about the fact that the winner, Wyatt Darby, just 23 years old, he's an insurance salesman, and he goes, maybe not for much longer after he won the tournament. So he's like super happy because now he can pursue Magic kind of a little bit more professionally with the prize money, $50,000.
That's pretty sweet.
He was like, I played this mono red deck because I had been seeing nothing but red decks in the queues on Magic Online, and I'm like, everyone's playing black red. What can I do? He wasn't even scared of Teferi or anything like that, so he's just like, well, I want to make sure I can play my Hazard on turn 4 and don't have to worry about any tap lands, or play my Chandra out of the board on turn 4 if I need to. So I'm just going to play all mountains and be able to get there. And in the end, that's seriously what happened, because we saw so many times the opponents get stuck because they had to have a land enter the battlefield tapped on 5.
Yeah. And also, we were talking about, like, Hazoret, just so good.
Oh, yeah, still great.
In a world of red-black, where it's, like, again, like, Kazuyuki Takamura being, like, one of the very few that's running that Vraska's Contempt. Otherwise, it's like, well, you have to hope that you, like, have a Soulscar Mage and then, like, also, like, a Chandra's Defeat or something.
Right.
To try and take care of that Hazoret.
Hazoret's still a problem.
Exactly. It's still, like, a 5/4 hasty indestructible creature.
The last turn of the last game of the whole tournament was super epic. Gonzalo Pinto was playing against Wyatt Darby in the finals, and everyone was like, the advantage bar was all over on Pinto's side of the battlefield. Yeah. And they're like, okay, he's got it next turn. No worries. But the previous turn, Wyatt had needed to basically rip an Abrade to kill the Aethersphere Harvester of Pinto, and managed to do that. The next turn, he had to rip a Glorybringer, which he did to win. It was insane.
It really was. It was great. It was
one of the coolest ending plays of a tournament of all time.
Yeah. And I think even before that, because he had drawn the Hazoret the turn before the Abrade.
Yes.
And
Hazoret
he needed
that
got
too.
in for like 10 damage or something like that. Like maybe more.
And people are saying like they loved the way he was playing the deck too. Like he was not attacking Chandra or whatever. He didn't even care. All he would do is continually attack face.
Yeah. Is that and like a lot of the time like his like he wasn't a person to like hold back his creatures and to think about blocking.
Oh no.
It was quite a bit of attacking. Pretty great.
And if you watched top 8 and you weren't happy about, the Chainwhirler and the lack of diversity, that doesn't mean it wasn't there at the Pro Tour. People were playing it. So, keep your eye out for decks, because who knows if, Chainwhirler would get the ban or whatever in the future. But one of the decks that I saw that I really loved was white-black Benalia. So you're making knights.
Yeah.
And you've got History of Benalia. I mean, that's a deck I would play. Meghan would probably just still play Teferi.
He's my buddy. What am I going to do?
Craig Wesco was running a really cool white-green list, wasn't he, Meghan?
Yeah, he was. So it had a Johnny.
Ooh, a Johnny. And
I
Lyra?
know. Yeah, it had Lyra. It was sweet.
If you like creatures, check out that list.
Yeah.
White-green mid-range from Craig Westco. He also tweeted a sideboard guide for it, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's always so helpful.
Some people are playing black-green snake. That deck is apparently still around.
Yeah.
Mono-black. Oh, this is my favorite deck of the weekend was Willie Adel. Had a mono-black deck, and he was very excited about it because he said it was basically like playing Jund. And then he went into one big long analogy of how all of the creatures and spells in the deck are basically a mirror to Jund in Modern. So
that's
check out
sweet.
That deck tech with him, and he's just a super nice guy too.
Yeah.
That deck seemed pretty cool.
I saw people out on the floor playing that, and I was just like, oh, this looks good.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited to see if that deck will go places in the future too, because it's really a unique deck. Playing Dreadshade, so if you're playing Dreadshade, I'm in.
I know. I remember being out on the floor and it was like someone had a Dreadshade in play. Wait, no, it had been killed, and then they played Liliana Death's Majesty.
Yeah.
And got it back from the graveyard, and it was like, all right, we're really going here.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Pretty sweet.
But yeah, pretty cool. Standard. All around. The top 8, of course, kind of condensed because of Chainwhirler, let's get real. A lot of red up there. But as a whole, I think the tournament had some interesting options for people moving forward. So go and check out those deck lists, not just the top 8, but down to, what do they go to, 36 or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Check it out.
It goes by points for standard.
Yeah,
which
points
is nice.
Standard. You can go and see those lists.
Disregards if someone did really well in draft and only medium and standard.
Awesome. It was a fun tournament. It was a pretty cool time.
Yeah, it really was. Matt Severa, noted constructed genius.
Oh, absolutely.
is the constructed master for the World Championship this fall.
Yeah, he managed to take down John Rolfe, who had the lead coming in, another cool guy. But Matt Severa, his GP performance is just absolutely out of this world, and I can only imagine that soon it will catch up with him at the Pro Tour as soon as he really leans in and starts to learn draft, because that's what took him down this weekend was draft. He only had one win in draft the whole weekend, but his standard record was awesome. So
yeah, he had the best standard record. He was 9-1.
Yeah, so as soon as he turns on draft, he might be one of the next unstoppable people.
No kidding.
Whew. But yeah, he'll be at the World Championships, which will be pretty cool in Las Vegas this year.
Yeah, this fall.
Speaking of Vegas, we're going to be there coming up in a couple of weeks for the GP.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Are you super excited?
Oh yeah, I'm just so pumped. I'm excited to play Modern, dust off those sparkly, boggly boys, throw them on the table, put their pants on them, and play some Limited too. I'm going to play in the qualifying events for the beta draft because, maybe I'll open 3 Lyras and I'll be able to crack open a Black Lotus. Fingers crossed.
What a weekend of cracking boosters you're planning on.
Yeah, that's true. It's to get here, I had to crack 3 Lyras, and now I expect a Black Lotus. But it's gonna be so cool. There's so many awesome people that are gonna be. There's so many events. I'm just pumped to the sky. Do you know what you're playing in Modern yet?
No.
Oh boy, what are you waffling on?
I think I'm pretty. So here's the thing: I'm pretty sure that I'm going to play blue-white control.
Oh.
My only concern is that I've practiced Jeskai a lot, and then I talked to some people and they're like, blue-white's definitely better.
Okay.
There's some matchups that are worse, but there's a lot of matchups. I was just for instance, I was really struggling with the Hollow One matchup with Jeskai. It's just very bad. It's very, very bad. But they're oh, you have a little bit more interaction for that in blue-white. So yeah. My only concern is that I'm about to head to Rhode Island for a week where I won't have a computer to play. And so I'm going to go in a little bit under tested. That's for sure.
Well, I've heard that the deck can be good against humans as well. At least I've heard that about Jeskai, so I assume
Certainly.
the same is about blue-white.
Yeah, they said it's like not as heavy a favorite, but it still is advantaged. And you know, if there's a deck I want to beat, its name is certainly humans.
I've got to make some sideboarding decisions heading into this tournament, and if I want to take my ley lines out of the main deck or not. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm going to test it and do some streaming this week, I think, because I am rusty with those bogs, and I got to dust off the rust. Wow, I've never said that before, and I kind of can't believe it. Dust off the rust.
Given how much you enjoy rhyme.
I know. Huh, okay. Well, I'll put that as a stream title. Well, everybody, that's this episode of Magic the Amateuring. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for everybody who supports us on Patreon. Thanks for being a member of the MTA fan club. You support the show, you keep it going, supporting the creators that you love and listen to every week, every other week, monthly, whatever it is super important to them to be able to keep doing what they're doing, and hopefully it makes you feel good too that you're supporting the people who work really hard to give you content. For other people who, you know, can't afford it or whatever, you're helping them as well.
That is right. Thank you as well to Card Kingdom, our sponsors Card Kingdom and Ultra Pro. cardkingdom.com/MTAcast is a place where you can go and get tons of boosters and cards, and also some sweet Ultra Pro gear.
The winner of our giveaway,
so one-stop shop for both
every
of them.
Month, and this is a little late. Sorry about that, but the winner of some cool stuff, including this Rainbow Planeswalker shirt here, is Eric Kinsey from Virginia. Congratulations, Eric! You're a winner. We're going to send you some sick swag, and expect that coming for you in the mail. And we've got a new Gleam giveaway that you can find the link to in the show notes for this, or under the YouTube video that you can use to enter for June. But yeah, we'll be back in the studio next month. Oh my God. Next week. I know. Boy, we've been doing a lot of traveling, especially you, Megan.
Sometimes that's what it feels like.
So we'll be back to normal next week, and then we'll be at Vegas. And if you're there, remember to say hi. We'll give you a little prize and a high five.